Wellness Institute's Wellness Wednesday. This is the Power Hour. Woo! We got like 100 Indians running around Barbie's village, and we got like 100 Native people and a few allies, but we're recovering from the election. Guess what? We're recovering from the invasion. Guess what? We're reclaiming our ancestors' teaching. So welcome to Wellness Wednesday. Welcome to uplifting, positive, productive, and proactive dialogue. And we got special guests today. I'm just like, woo, we got some special guests today. But I wanted to welcome you to this hour, and we're going to have a dialogue that will help our healing. And I just have to say, Nistu Nidaniko Mokoyo Sequoia. It's my second Blackfoot name. Nistu Sixakatapi. I come from the Blackfoot Confederacy. Nistu Amskapi Pikani. But I also have blood from Sixikai by Gleason, Alberta. I also have blood from Kainai from Standoff, Alberta. And I also have blood from Mobutsapikani from Brockett, Alberta. So welcome. And on some days, I guess all days, I'm the badass auntie. So if you don't like what I say, that's okay. But if you like what I say, I'm only going to share with you culture. I'm only going to share with you behavior that helps our families. I'm only going to share with you dialogue and things that help us with their healing. So like I have special guests, but I wanted to start off with, I was thinking, we have Mark Harris here, and Dwight Francisco, Jolene Joseph, Shailene, Josh, Shady. We have a lot, and we have a lot of real special guests. But one of the prophecies, and Mark just said it, so I'm just going to reiterate that in a nutshell. I heard Thomas Banyaka, a Kyle man, Fred Deer, and I heard there was all these prophecies coming in. Please take a seat. Just we're live. They talked about there would be 4 challenges for Indian people, and these 4 challenges were when we had to pull out our Indianness, we had to pull out our songs, and the prophecy was those that have long hair and know their Indian name. So that means that we have to really pay attention to our hair, and we have to pay attention to our traditions. So I'm just going to say them because Mark was talking about it. So I was 17 years old. I had entered UC Berkeley. I'm 69 years old, so I was entering Berkeley in 1974, and I heard them speak about this prophecy. So I wanted to start there. They said there will be 4 challenges, and they called it the Black Book, the Liquid, the Song, and the Card. Oh, so I'm pulling this back in because when I heard it, I was 17 years old, and Thomas Banyaka was speaking, Philip Deer was speaking, and there was other prophecies, and they went to all the universities, and they were pleading with the Indians who got into the colonized universities to pay attention to their teachings. So in the prophecy, the Black Book, and I'm not going to do this like how we would do teaching. It might be, years, people. The Black Book is the Bible, and it doesn't mean bad or good. It's just that it's a challenge that will challenge your Indian ways. Okay, so it will challenge your Indian ways, this Black Book. But I was thinking to myself, in the book of Judges 13:7, because I read it as literature, and I know I've read it, and I see it as a resource. But on Blackfoot, it's we have other resources that work better. So, anyway, So, but in the book of Judges 13:7, it says, "Behold, thou shalt bear a son, no drink no strong drink." That was preventing fetal alcohol syndrome and all spectrum of babies that were born with this black book. But this black book, right now in 2024, grab a chair, get in line. So the black book is first. The second challenge is I'm going to talk about is the liquid. Okay, so there's the black book and there's the liquid. We're live right now. Grab a chair. There's chairs in there. Have a seat. Grab a seat. So the liquid. So you guys. The prophecy was talking about alcohol. The prophecy was talking about if we ingest alcohol, that's the greatest challenge to obliterating and vanishing our culture and our ways and our ancestors' teaching. So the black book, the liquid, and then here's an interesting one because it's a song. And they said a song is, the way that prophecy translates is we will learn the outsiders, the colonizers' songs before we learn our ancestors' songs. So it's like if you can sing happy birthday to you. We all know how to sing that. But do you know how to sing your songs? And so then that's the prophecy is we're colonized. Mm-hmm. Do you max out your credit cards for Christmas? Do you 8,000 people watch this, okay? So that's who you're talking to. So do you, because I love Halloween, do you do American holidays? Some of us were raised to do on Thanksgiving, and we went on Alcatraz, and we celebrated, we sang songs, and we sang Up the Sun. It still happens. All of those, so that song. So in recapturing, think about, so black book, liquid, song. Sometimes, like this morning, we're here at Barbie's Village. This is Native Wellness Institute's new property, and we have some guests. I'm going to bring them on and introduce themselves. Our topic is how we're healing after the election, or anything you want to talk about. How you're healing and what's going on here. You can just talk about what's going on here. Yeah. Okay, so in this, could you tell them we're doing this? Just, you don't need to open that. You need to just make, everybody's so excited here. We're at lunch break. And so we're coming to you live. This is welcome to Native Wellness Institute's Wellness Wednesday. And so I just started a dialogue, and we got some special guests who are going to come on and share with what's happening here. We got over 100 indigenous representatives from here, from Alaska, from Canada, from all over the United States, and they're going to talk to you about healing. And that's what Wellness Wednesday is about. Wellness Wednesday, I wanted to finish the prophecies, the black book, the liquid, and the song. And this is the interesting, because it took me a while. They said the other prophecy that's going to challenge us and break us apart is the card. And the way that the spiritual leaders have interpreted that is casinos. And some say the more casino, the less Indian. I'll say that again. The more casino, the more greed that comes in, the less Indian. So, but that card could be all kinds of things. It could be competitiveness. It could be, Republicans. It could be Republicans. It could be the electoral vote. It could be that why some people of color. Now remember, we're talking about people that are darker than a paper bag, because people lighter than a paper bag have a different experience because they can pass, and those that can pass have a different life experience than us who cannot pass. So this card, I heard that prophecy about the black book, the liquid, the song, and the card. And so I'm coming to you. We have some guests, and this is just impromptu because we really believe in just listening to Indians, and they're going to share some of their story. And so I would, who wants to go first?
As if the topic was.
Yeah, you're gonna.
Yep.
Okay, so we're gonna have what would like you to do is to come and sit here, and this is what everyone sees of you. You can see it. Would like you to introduce yourself, and then would like you to share any part of your healing story. And so I just will invite our first guest. Please come and sit.
We'll start after the election.
Okay. And then I'll ask you questions. Just.
Good morning. Yat ehebene she'e Terry Salaminchia Nanaba'e Denekasho Inchia. I am from Arizona, of the Nene Nation. I work for Mother Nation. I am the lead advocate for Mother Nation.
Woohoo!
Represent Mother Nation, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you. I'm very honored to be here. It's I'm very happy to be around my relations and my people because we don't really get this opportunity every now and then. So this feels very welcoming. Very glad to be here.
Okay. So what's going on here? What's happening here?
We are here to, it's like a leadership conference, just kind of basically teaching us how to become leaders and definitely looking at the eyes of, our ancestors, just carrying it back down. So it's definitely great.
So what's some of your story? Why do you want to heal? Or you already healed?
My story, well, I feel as natives through the Indian country, it's definitely a challenge to heal from our past trauma. And as far as the work that I do and the organization that I work with is kind of like we tend to wrap that services around our native people that are in need of DV, sexual assault, and MMIW. We have an MMIW program. Shout out to Shanna if you're watching. Thank you so much for what you do. I appreciate you, sister. But that's what we do, and I feel like it's definitely a big challenge for a lot of our brothers and our sisters out there to heal from our past trauma. Especially with the upcoming of the election. I know that touched a lot of people's hearts. That touched a lot of
Tell us about
my
that.
relatives.
How did you feel right after? How are you feeling now, and how did you feel right after the election?
I feel like I'm okay personally, but I've been checking in a lot with my nation, my relations, my relatives, my coworkers to see how everybody's really keeping up themselves, through this, because I felt like it was a huge letdown. There's a lot of emotions through Seattle where I work, and that day there's a couple of sisters and brothers on the street that were crying, because they just felt like it was a huge letdown. And for us to feel such an impact like that is just kind of, it gives us, that strength to come together and make a change together, stand together strong as a community, as people, as Native people. That's the way I feel. And I go about that teaching because my dad, Gary Boy, my late dad, he used to have this wording, and he used to always say, always remember to have your people on your back. Always remember to have their back when it comes to something detrimental like this, in regards to the election, in regards to, any kind of major change with Indian country. The best I could say is, we got to get through this together and have one another's back, be there for each other, encourage one another, because it did impact us a huge, huge bit. So my prayers go out to everybody, that were impacted by it, and it breaks my heart to hear a lot of these, our brothers and our sisters out there, suffering from this. So prayers up, and we'll get through this together. Yeah, thank you.
So let me also ask you, because your energy is very positive, and your energy is very strong, and you're beautiful. You're just beautiful.
Thank you.
So if you were to talk to your younger self, like when you're like 15 years old or 20 years old,
right?
What would you say to your younger self about preparing for the next coming 10 years? If you could talk to your younger self, what would you say to your younger self?
Be resilient.
Okay.
Be resilient. I'm just gonna say that. Be resilient. You're gonna fall, but you know what? You're gonna get back up because you have your support of your Native sisters, your Native brothers, and you know we come back a long line of medicines and ceremonies, and rely on that. Is what I would say. Is rely on those teachings that your ancestors and your elders gave you. And I think about my grandmother a lot when these kind of issues come up, because there's a lot of saying in what the elders are teaching you, and it doesn't make sense at the time, but it makes sense now as you're in your adult years and you're kind of like, I got that, I know what that means. But yeah, be resilient and just, you know, the impact that you're getting, and endure that. I always say appreciate the bad because it makes you stand up stronger.
Okay, so now the second question, and then we'll bring our next guest in, is if you had a magic wand, okay, so like this magic wand,
Right.
and this magic wand could do anything in the next 4 years, like you could just like, zzz, what would you take that magic wand and do, and it was, you could wish for it and it will come true? What would that be?
I would say just restore a lot of our teachings, bring it back. Bring back our teachings for a lot of it, and because I feel like it was stripped away from us, you know, with the boarding school days and stuff like that. The kids that have endured the trauma, you know, and they don't carry it because there's a lot of lost natives too. So I would definitely want to bring a lot of our old teachings back, and you know, a lot of respect. Bring it back.
So you would just take that wand and
Just be like,
bring
yeah,
it.
just
Okay,
bring it
so
up.
well, we better find that wand
I
because
know,
think
right? I know.
you said, okay, so
Thank you all so much,
Yes.
and I really appreciate it. I really appreciate this.
So where do you live?
Oh, I live in Seattle, but my home is on Doneta, in Arizona. So I'm from the Navajo Reservation, little town called Pinon, Arizona. I've been here for about 5 years. I've been with Mother Nation for 4 years. I'm very, very honored and very happy to be part of this team. I feel like the perseverance has been there, and I am very grateful that I can give back to and help my sisters out there that are in need. Yeah.
And you speak your language.
I do speak my name. It's Kihat.
Hey,
thank you.
okay, all
Appreciate
right, thank you very much. So you see our first guest, and so thanks, sister. Can you check on the other two to see when they're coming in? So we have one, or we're at our lunch hour, and we have another guest, and I just want her to introduce herself and tell us what's going on and what part of the country she's from. So please come on in. And I'll just ask you questions. Like, who are you?
Hiuk Nimhayawis Vanessa Manuel. I am from the Tule River Tribe. I'm here today at the Wellness in the Workplace conference. I came here to get medicine because every time I've come to NWY training, I come back with nothing but goodness and nice people who teach me things so that I can take it back to my community.
Okay. Could you tell, you knew Joe Carrillo, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And you know the Hunters, right?
Yeah.
And you know Priscilla that we lost,
Yeah.
eh? Could you tell us, in like the past 20 years, what has Tule River been doing to bring back the culture?
I think we've got a lot going on with our language program. Our language program is huge. We practice it with our students every single day. And I was just listening to you talking about, do you know how to sing happy birthday in your language? And I do. And like, for me, that's my strength, is my language.
Oh.
I don't speak it every day with everybody, but I can have conversations with my mother. We try to work with our kids to build strong children so that they'll be resilient compared to what we had come from in the past.
Do you dream in your language? Is it your language in your dreams?
Not that I can remember.
Okay, all right, okay. So what else is Tule River doing in the past 20 years to bring back the culture?
I think we just mostly work on better ways to enhance our children. Like we have our gym, we have our clinic, we have Trap now who works with our younger generations to
Yeah.
try to better them, because they, compared to where the walk we walk, theirs can be different because we have all of these opportunities.
Tell us what TRAP stands for.
TRAP stands for the Tule River Alcoholism Program.
Oh, yeah, because I just so you know, Joe Carrillo like saved my life in the 80s. I was working for him, and he really fathered me in my recovery. And so I always, Tule River. So one of the things, and you can just answer to it, I loved going to the elders gathering at Tule River. That Flora Jones doctored me in 1989. And can you say anything about the elders gathering? Is it still going? Or what's going on in California? How do people heal in California?
How do we heal in California? Well, for myself, I just think that I do a lot of the cultural stuff in our elders program, which I work for now. We're in charge of bringing together the elders gathering. So we did that this year, and then we work with other parts of Tule River, and they all come together and create a nice event. I think we had about 900 participants that come from all over.
Beautiful.
And I've been going to these since I was little. But it's really nice because they added a second kitchen this year.
Oh, nice.
Up at the upper part of it, and then they built Natural Resources and other programs built a nice log bridge.
Oh, nice.
It's beautiful, beautiful. So that was like nice for this year. Nice thing to do for our elders. And I think they built a changing station. We called it something else. I just can't think of it right now. But
yeah.
it's made for our cultural people so that they can change. And
Yeah. That's all. Well, one of the things I remember, can you say something about, I remember your sweat lodge, like 150 people could fit in that sweat lodge. Can you say something about how you use the sweat lodge?
We use our sweat lodge to go in and we just pray. We pray for everything and everybody, Mother Earth, our people, and we use it to cleanse ourselves so we could become whole.
That's beautiful. How many grandchildren you got?
I have 12 grandchildren. I have some 10-year-olds, I have some 8-year-olds, 6 through 4, and then I have my baby Bonnie. She's 1.5.
Yeah,
Sometimes
okay.
I can't remember them all because there's so many. But like that's the best medicine I think that anybody can have is to have grandchildren.
Yeah. If you could make a wish in the next, 20, 30 years for these grandchildren, what would you wish for them?
I just wish that they feel that what I feel right now, because like my friend before me, you had asked her a question if she was already healed, and for myself, I feel like I'm already healed, and that's what I want for my grandchildren. I want them to be strong. I want them to be resilient, and I want even my younger kids, I got a couple of younger kids, I want them to be strong and keep moving with that and what I'm teaching them, because it was a hard road.
What was one hard thing that you think you overcame?
I think one of the hardest things I overcame was addiction, because I spent so many years in that lost place. I didn't know how to become who I am today. But by having good mentors and people that led me through my educational journey, I felt like that's what healed me. And then I went up to Northwest Indian College, and they're really into understanding who you are and teaching you about yourself. You think you're going to go there and you're just going to get education, but I felt like you give everything, and I came back whole from there.
Oh, that's so
And
beautiful.
so I just try to do things, keep doing things in my culture and with people who care about each other, especially our Native people. That's where I get my healing from, and I know that that's important.
Did you have any thoughts on the recent election?
I have none. I don't like politics.
That's
I mean, I
fine.
hear stuff
That's
from
fine.
my son because he's into politics, but I try to stay away from because it's.
Doesn't fit with the grammar.
No, it doesn't fit with the grammar. I like to stay on the background when it comes to politics.
Oh, well, that's so beautiful. Well, I just want to thank you because I look at you and you look so young and beautiful, and you have such a gentle nature. You know, I just want to really thank you for coming to talk with us. And so I'm just going to give you a hug, and then you can go eat.
Okay, Wisa.
Lisa.
Wisa.
Yeah. You can tell Dwight if he wants to come back in. So we're at lunchtime, and shoot, is it Nistu, the badass auntie? I don't like to interfere with people eating, and so I'll describe one of the things. I'm at a good place this morning, but I had like a roller coaster after the election, and this morning was the first. I slept a good 8 hours, and I usually get up and I go for a walk. Most of you know I just go walking. I slept 8 hours, and I had my meditation books, but I had to read my letting go meditation. I had to read my forgiveness meditation. I had to read my courage to change meditation. And then I also have a meditation that Ann Wilson Schaaf. Ann Wilson Schaaf was one of my mentors. She left us in 2020, but it's for those who worry. And the meditations were just so beautiful this morning. And it seems like all four of them, even though they all concentrate on when you go through tough times, what you depend on is Creator. And that the more you worry, the farther you are away from Creator. The more that if you have anxiety, the more you're away from Creator. And so I just so I woke up and I was doing my meditations, and I usually do some exercise and go for a walk. But today was like the first day after the election that I felt I was getting back to myself and my routine. And I just wanted to say that. So for those of you out there, it's not like, it happened 1 week ago. And some of us, we got feedback from people who had panic attacks. We got feedback from people who had anxiety. We got feedback from people who were stunned, numbed out. We got feedback from people who started, using profanity, and you could just see how it has come in. And so I wanted to say this is a week later, and what are you doing? So let's just talk about what can we do with our mental health, and what can we do with our well-being given this election. And so that's why Native Wellness Institute, we're going ahead we have wellness in the workplace right over here, and we have a gathering of Native Americans, a training of trainers. And so we're going to go back in, and we have like 63 people, and we're going to see them present generosity, mastery, interdependence, and belonging. And it seems like we've been doing belonging over and over, just like, what do we belong to? It's like about belonging. And so we're moving into action. And today I think I felt peaceful because I think that those often with us in healing and in recovery, and some of us, we've been sober 5 years, some have been sober 15 years, some been sober 25 years. Part of my qualifier is more my Al-Anon. I've been in Al-Anon since I was 12. I was intervened on and put in the Betty Ford Center in 1988. My beautiful family intervened on me, and they got a scholarship, and I went to treatment there the first time. And like I say, I lasted 77 days and I relapsed, which is part of the disease of addiction. And then I checked myself, and I stayed drunk for 3 months. had so much remorse. I had so much regret. I had so much, and I unresolved grieving. So then I finally surrendered, and at that time, my boyfriend Tom Trimble had good insurance. So bless you, Tom Trimble family. Tom is gone now. He's been gone for 10 years. But I got to go into the Meadows, which was a women's treatment program. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. Why did that women's treatment program work better for, and I identify as she and her, but I realized by how I was raised, Blackfoot, and being the oldest daughter of my dad with all my uncles, they raised me with a level of confidence that sometimes women weren't raised with. But let me just talk, why did that women's recovery program work better for women? And it all had to do with relationships. It was interesting because I was Native American, but we had African American, we had European descent, we had, at that time, was called Latina, Hispanic, and Chicano or Chicano-na, and all in the same treatment program. And we lived in, it was kind of like a giant home, but I remember it was around relationships. So a lot of our groups, and we were there a long time, and then if they saw that you didn't make progress, they asked you to stay longer. So think about this. Native Wilderness Institute is going back to White Mountain Apache, right on White Mountain Apache Rainbow Treatment Program. Theirs is 12 weeks, and they're really trying to map out that your treatment should be for an entire year. And I just said, wow, what if I really wished they had kept me a year and taught me how to deal with my relationship issues. And so relationship, it's not only romantic relationship, but it's relationships with Creator, it's relationships with your siblings, it's relationships with your coworkers, it's relationships with all your ceremonies, relationships with your language. And so for as a woman, and I just want to say, at that time, most of the women who were dealing in addiction, like if we took 10 of those women, 9 out of 10 of the men left them. And that was different because a lot of times, when you get men into treatment, if it's male, and I'm not going to do the two-spirit LGBTQ, but 9 out of 10, if it's a man, 9 out of 10 of the women stay with him and take care of him and nurture him and try to fix him. And so I really realized when I went into the women's treatment program that we had to start, and this was interesting because we had to start with ourself as a life giver. As a life giver. And so at that time, some of us had children in there and some had not made a children. And one of my issues is I had went because I didn't feel capable of the relationship I was in was with a non-native. And I had all these healing issues that I hadn't gone through yet. And I didn't want to bring a child into the world that was half non-native. So I had to work through those. I had to have self-forgiveness. I had to have forgiveness within my family unit. I had to make peace with it's like make peace with your uterus. Make peace with your life-giving ability. And that's what started in that women's treatment program. So then it was kind of interesting. Come on in, please come on in. We're live. Yes, we're doing our live podcast right now. So then what was interesting with that phenomena in the women's treatment program is that we had to talk about what is the cycle of a woman in our life and in our family. So we talked about what was the sacredness and what was the ceremonies when you started your menstrual cycle. And that was so beautiful because it was just a description of what were the ceremonies, coming out ceremonies, or what were the ceremonies when you turn from a young girl and you go into early womanhood. What are the ceremonies, for a young boy going into manhood? And it was just so much fun because then we began to trace in our life, did we go through these rites of passage? So one of the things when you're healing, you have to ask yourself, have I gone through these rites of passage? It's just like now we're in this healing in the other room. We're looking at our rites of passage. What are the rites of passage that we survived the pandemic? What kind of celebration have we gone through in order to celebrate that we survived the pandemic? We survived this traumatic event. And then how do we take that rite of passage and thrive? Because remember, it's your birthright to thrive and to live joy. It is your birthright. But I was just thinking too, when I was in treatment, one of the things that, because the non-natives, they all wanted to learn how to make fry bread. But it was like a ritual because cooking is a ceremony. And it's how you share. And so I remember I said, well, you need certain we didn't have we had regular flour, we had regular, was it yeast or was it baking powder? But one of the beauties is with all those women, and this is like women heal when they're cooking together. Women heal when they're gathering together. Women heal when they're braiding sweetgrass together. Women heal, so we all learned, and so I just remember people, kneading the dough, so we had to knead it, we had to mix it, and I was taught, like my mom always used warm milk. And sometimes she would use an egg sometimes. So for Bannock, and she would use certain egg. So they were learning ingredients, but I just remember all of us, here we were in treatment. We were kneading when you're kneading the dough. When you're just kneading, not this dough, eh? When you're kneading the dough, and we were kneading the dough, and then getting the temperature, teaching, getting the oil and getting the temperature of making the fry bread, and then so that was a woman. We were learning to be sisters, and that's what I wanted to speak about. In that treatment program, we were learning sisterhood, because in our addiction, you're competitive, and the patriarchy and the non-natives, their training is to be competitive. Their training is, to be competitive along, your skincare, your waist, all of these kind of things, physical, how you look. And then what we were learning was sisterhood. Yeah, I was just I see some of the comments and stuff like that, but it's different when you have sisterhood. So what is sisterhood? Sisterhood is when you have safe space in sharing your stories about your children, about your romance, about your courtship, about your marriage, about even when you lose a partner. I have some sisters now who are losing their partners. They're living longer than their husbands. And they've lost a partner that's the same sex. This sisterhood is when you come to the aid of your sister and cherish them with unconditional love. And so think about that. Cherish them with unconditional love. That's what sister is. It's way more than cooperation. It's almost like a synergy of healing that you come together to help each other, and you got each other's back. that when a woman has each other's back. So I have a question for you. How do you got Kamala's back? You know, how do you got all of what Kamala represented, all of those who supported her? How do we continue on? And it's that question to you. Post something. Post what she has. Put it on social media. Talk with your family. I was wearing my Kamala shirt every day. It says Madam President. I wore it every day, but I wore it too many days and it needs to be washed and I'm traveling. But I was just thinking to myself, I pray for her. I pray that she has a long, healthy life. I pray that leaders, all women leaders, have a long, healthy life. I pray that all matriarchs of family have a long, healthy life. And that is something that it just, I think if we all did that even now, you know, Hayos Jabatapi, Hayo Ninna, Hayo Napi Natusi, Hayo Akita Biwa. Aki means woman, but I was thinking, you know, I was texting with some of my nieces and thinking about, you know, like Lily Gladstone, Pitaki, and then I have a Heartbeat Armstrong relative, Pitaki, and then I just gave a name to two women that I married to one of their daughters is named Pitaki. So Pita means eagle and Aki means woman. But I just say a prayer to all of the women out there, to all of the life givers. Go and hug the person who gave you life. Go and hug the woman, the mother, the grandmother. If you still have your grandmother, go hug her. This is time to bring back respecting women. We haven't, it's not till January 20th. So think about that. A lot can happen in between there. But in between there, respect your women. Hold your women up. We had two women who decided to tell you their story here from Tule River and from Mother Nation. And what a good example. You know, we listen to women now. I'm going to return back in there and we're hearing storytelling. Storytelling is medicine. It is a time to share with people what kinds of hard things you came through. It's a time to share with people how you got clean and sober, how you quit smoking, how you quit gambling, how you quit whatever other addiction that you have. I was thinking to myself, do I have a chocolate addiction? I think so. So this week, this is like my 4th day without any chocolate. Anyway, but now that I think about it, I wish I had some dark chocolate now. But how it's time to tell our story. And so I think in our remaining time, I want to share a story. How do you become like a auntie, a badass auntie, a grandmother, a mother? How do you share? What parts should you share? And I think we need to share the relationships that we've come through. You know, who was our first love? Who was your first love? And how did that work out? Who was your second love? And how did that work out? Who was your third love? Fourth love? I mean, some of us might have had 7 or 8 loves. You know, they all said, we were talking about Elizabeth Taylor earlier because she was in the Betty Ford Center with me. She had 8 husbands. You know, how do we got to share some of that story. And then the wisdom that we have now. How is our relationship with self? Not with another human being, but how is our relationship with ourselves? I was just sharing, the group in here asked me about sweetgrass, you know, and we'll use my braid for like the sweetgrass. How they wanted to know the story of sweetgrass. And so I'll share some of that, and I think you should use it in relationships. First of all, you know, when you go, no matter how tall the grass is. You know, you should come dressed. They say it's protocol to dress up to go gather. You know, and most where we are, we wear our moccasins, we wear our dresses, and it's warm enough, and we sit on the ground and we make a spot. We bring our pastascan, our tobacco that we've either grown. It's good to grow your own tobacco. And you put your tobacco down, and the grass is growing up, and it hasn't been braided yet. So it's almost like for a moment, if the grass were, say, my head could be for this exercise, my head could be Sakum, the earth, and here's the grass growing up. We sit down beside it, and we ask permission when we put the tobacco. We ask permission to pick the medicine and enter into a relationship with this sweet grass. And so when we ask that permission, we also say our intentions of braiding this sweet grass and what we're going to use it for. So we, like a lot of times when I go out and I put down the tobacco for roots and stuff, I just say, I really want to respect you. I really love you. And sometimes, I kiss it. I always kiss my tobacco plants and all my plants. And I say, I really need you to help with the healing in the traveling that we do. And when we burn it, we need to soften the harshness of things that have hurt our heart and our spirit. And so you say the prayer with the intention of what you're going to use it for. And sure, you could, like if you were going to go, if we were at a place, you could say, I want to recover from the election. Help me, sweet grass, recover from the election. So you say the prayer, and then you braid it. Mind, body, and spirit. That's like when you braid your hair, when you braid anyone else's hair, it's courtship. When you braid your children's hair, you should say, I'm praying for my child's mind, body, and spirit. And you braid it up, and I was just noticed, okay, so here's my braid of sweet grass. And then at the end, when you tie this end off, the sweet grass to hold it, with another piece of sweet grass, and then with another piece of sweet grass, you tie it at the end, and that's why they call it the belly button. Because it's the belly button, and then you said the prayer to all of the sweet grass coming out of Sakum, the earth, and then that's when you cut it from the earth, and then it stands on its own, and then it's just a medicine that you can take. And there's more to it, but just think about that delicacy. Like when, I was thinking of my daughter, when her long hair, and one of our rituals of getting ready was braiding hair in the morning and praying for her mind, body, and spirit, praying for that she had a good day, praying for, and so sometimes I think about that because later on, I was not mothering my daughter, or I think when I braid my nieces, I'm a lot of nieces, I'm braiding. And one time I was up at Strathmore, and Mr. Brave Rock, who played Nappy in Wonder Woman, he had come in, and we were supposed to go out, and he came over and he said, hey, I need someone to braid my hair. And he looked at me and he said, can you braid my hair? And I said, I don't even like you. I don't even want to court you, and I know you're not courting. I ain't gonna braid your hair. You better get one of your family members to braid your hair. And then he got he got caught. He got, what's your prototype? You're Indian, right? So then you just can't ask anybody to touch your hair or braid your hair, and it's a ceremony. Hair is so much of a ceremony. My grandma, that's why we save all of our hair. When we brush our hair, any of our hair that comes out, we save it. And you'll make a nest. You'll make a nest of hair, And sometime in your life, someone that you love dearly, when they pass, you make a pillow, you make a nest for, you lay their head on it before you put them up on, we used to put them up off the ground, you know, we'd make a staff, they would be up there, or before you bury them, or before, if you cremate them, you know, you make that nest. And that was automatic, and Grandma used to say, because all of that hair of the households that you lived, and you always saved the hair of all of the household. So I have like I was thinking I have a pretty big nest. And we were talking with my mom, because my mom's 86 and still alive. And so one of the things I asked her, I said, well, Mom, I think I'm saving that big nest, that pillow of hair for you. But I should ask you first, is that something you want to be? She wants to be cremated. And you know, this is what Mom said, and it just like hit me. She goes, no, I think that nest should be for you. And I just went, whoa. So then lately I've been saving my hair, and I noticed there's a lot. So then I have to leave instruction, you know, when this physical body dies, because my spirit will be alive and go to the sand hills, or Dad used to call it Big Sandy. That's, you know, we go over there. And then I was thinking, well, that will be, and I'm going to be buried in the ground. And I was looking at, you know, I want to be buried at Heartbeat. I want to be buried kind of in between my dad and my Aunt Melinda, who was my other auntie, who was my other mother, my dad's younger sister. There's enough space there. I thought that would be, they could bury me there. And because you go back to the earth, and that's why all the ancestors and all the DNA, all your sacredness is in your hair. That's why when we grieve, they say you cut about 6 inches, because then when it grows back, that tells you about that amount of time, and your grief should come to a place where you accept the death. That's why people cut their hair and put it in the casket. So I just we're coming to you. Welcome to Wellness Wednesday. This is Native Wellness Institute. We're at Barbie's Village. And Barbie's Village, you can just look here. We got 2.5 acres here. We're renovating. We have 2 trainings going on right now. And it's because Native Wellness Institute wanted to have training in community. And rather than like a hotel, and you know, hotels, they never let you smudge. You can smudge here, they can smudge and smudge. We just spend in the other room just smudging all day. What's beautiful here is people brought their medicines. So we have kapal, we have corn pollen, we have sweetgrass, we have high cedar, we have ground up medicine. And we just got like a smudge going all the time. And then this morning we had songs. We came together. There's about 60 of us, and just when people came into the room, started picking up the drum, singing a song. We got some Grand Ram people here. We had Fabian started singing a song. We have some grandmas from Nevada who just started singing a song. We have some Anishinaabe. We just had others who just wanted to start singing and needed a rattle. We had others who just a cappella, or they just people just started singing and started praying. And so the Gona, where Native Wellness Institute just has a new training manual for Gona and a brand new participants manual. And we went to PowerPoint to describe everything and frame it. We also have that. And so you can go to www.nativewellness.com and you can see our events coming up. We have a big event at Pachanga in California, December 3rd, 4th, and 5th. And then we're putting out our new calendar. We will be returning to Wellness in the Workplace in Hawaii. And so please, you're welcome to register. You can go online. It starts March 11th. So, make your plans now. What do you do after the election? You live life good. What do you do after the election? You take care of yourself. What do you do after the election? You spend time with your unconditional love and you cherish your family. What do you do after the election? You organize. What do you do after the election? Is you start to collaborate. What do you do after the election? Is that you thrive and you live well and you make sure that everyone votes and everything that needs to be voted for. You practice democracy. And at the same time, don't be stupid. Look at how you can become self-sufficient, how you can have the food sovereignty, how you can have your own people live in goodness and make boundaries where the outside world can't mess with you, can't mess with your sovereignty. And so, don't let them mess with your sovereignty. Hell no. It's how do you make the boundaries around you? And then, just so we welcome you to Wellness Wednesday. We provided some dialogue today. We provided some dialogue today on your mind, body, and spirit. And how you stay grounded. Sleep hygiene, your prayers. I notice that since the election, whenever I start to slip into a negative thought or like an angry thought, I just start praying. And the prayer just brings me back to, when you're praying, you're not worrying, you're not having anxiety. When you're praying, you move more towards forgiveness. Gene Tagabon was with us yesterday. He said we're at different levels of forgiveness. And so we just have to show up. This is our country. It is our country. Even before they came, it was our country. It's still our country. But in our country, how do we get up and have lateral kindness? Just across the board. How do we behave with lateral kindness? That fights the lateral oppression. How do we have lateral forgiveness? So in the 24 hours is we don't react to people, we forgive them. Today, and I guess I'll end with, we had Percy Almy always would give us a Q-tip. And we gave everyone a Q-tip. And Percy's lesson with the 13 grandmas is often in situations, carry that Q-tip. Carry it. Do I still have, here's my Q-tip. I've been carrying it in my belt here. Because you should pull it out every once in a while. I was smudging my Q-tip. And I was asking my Q-tip to give me good boundaries. And what Percy's teaching from the 13 grandmas is that quit taking it personal. Q-tip. Quit taking it personal. Where it's all about you, all about your ego, is quit taking it personal. So in the election, quit taking it personal. Just do the things that brings balance to your family. We're looking forward to, we're going to go visit my brother in Rio Rancho near Albuquerque. And we're bringing my 86-year-old mother, and we're bringing my siblings. And my best friends from college is going to be having a birthday on the 24th. So I'm going to go and visit and we're going to have a pajama party. And drink tea and laugh. We're going to talk old stories. Go visit people. Have a pajama party. Have a hot tea. Drink coffee, whatever. Make stew. Make chili. Make some of that fry bread. Go and be with your people. Go watch a movie together. Go, bring out it's winter time. It's Kiayo. It's Baksikwe. They go into hibernation. We naturally should get ready to go through the season of the winter. And that right now it's very important to start getting ready for December 21st. or the solstice and the equinox are so important. It's we just celebrated Veterans Day. Be good to veterans every day. So I'm holding up this Q-tip because I'm just trying to quit taking it personal, and I'm gonna go have some lunch. But welcome to this last hour. We hope we gave you some dialogue. Please share this if you think it will help someone with their healing. You know, it's positive, productive, and proactive. And so with that, I say, woohoo, woohoo, woohoo! It's great to be Indian, and it's great to be live. Woohoo, woohoo, woohoo! I love being Indian. I'm so glad, because if I was non-Indian, it would be good. If I was fake ass pretending, it would be good. So I just want to say, celebrate yourself being Indian, and we'll see you next Wednesday.